Sausage.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Krishnez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. Oh shit, that's me. I forgot. I do that now. Maybe I don't. But this is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Krishnez, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This episode is all about Hi-Fi Rush, a rhythm-based action game where you play as Chai, a young wannabe rocker who, in some kind of experimental surgery, decides to get his arm removed so that he can become a garbage man or something. I can't quite remember. And during the process, his not iPod gets magically, it's not so magically, but it stumbles its way onto his chest during the procedure and gets implanted, smashed, however you want to put it, into his chest, and now everything is going to the beat with him. So, attacking, moving, jumping, dashing, so on and so forth. It's all to the beat, and that is what the game is all about. I have played about half of the game, I would say roughly, because there are 6 bosses. I've defeated 3 of them. I am halfway through my attempt. That's not what I would say. My journey, my attacking of the 4th boss. That's how we'll put it. So I'm roughly halfway there, unless there are some hiccups, roadblocks, potholes along the way that take us into diverging paths that prolong the experience a little bit longer. But I'm about halfway through, and it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. First and foremost, I just absolutely adore the way this game looks. From the in-game visuals to the cinematics that use the in-game engine and the 2D animation that sometimes crops up during cinematics. Everything about the game looks fantastic. The art style itself, the cel-shaded graphics, the animations, it's all just incredible. I can't say enough about how good this game looks, which is why it pains me so much to say that outside of that, I don't really like anything else in this game. Immediately, Chai is incredibly annoying. I did not like him the second he opened his mouth, and that never changed. He is an incredibly annoying character who will speak to some, but along the journey so far, he has said stuff like rated E for everyone when referring to himself after someone said something about how he's good for the kids and shit like that. Oh, I'm rated E for everyone. He said, when they make a movie about me, I wonder who will play me. Better yet, when they make a video game, I wonder who my voice actor will be. He also referred to something as if it was like a video game tutorial. That is the kind of stuff you can expect to escape his mouth. And for me, that is incredibly grating on the ears and my brain. I could not stand it. The rest of the characters, the rest of the cast are fine, but no one has really jumped out at me as someone I really, really like. Not to take anything against the voice acting, which is all great, and the animations are very emotive, so you see a lot of personality in the characters. I just don't happen to like any of their personalities. But the bigger issue is that I don't like playing the game in any form, whether it be combat or platforming, because this is a 3D action game. I wouldn't even say first and foremost, because you do quite a bit of platforming, and there are some very small, brief, side-scrolling platforming sections which aren't great either. But the rhythm-based combat and rhythm-based movement in general just hasn't clicked with me whatsoever. When it comes to the platforming, your jump is maybe the heaviest jump I've ever experienced in a video game. You are so heavy and have zero momentum that it feels like you're barely moving whenever you're jumping. And I regularly, if not always, worried that I was never going to make a jump and over-relied on dashing when jumping, which does not feel good. And it's not enjoyable to constantly think, am I going to make this jump? Am I not? So I never enjoyed any of the platforming. And then the combat felt at odds with itself. One, I just never clicked with it on a fundamental level, but it's based around attacking on the beat, of course. You don't have to, but you will get bonuses for doing it. And in some cases, you really have to do what they want you to do, or you're going to take quite a bit of damage. I will say, though, at the very least, when you do get pretty low on health, the game is generous and sees that you're low on health and will then give you health when attacking enemies because it doesn't want you to fail and have to start over. I appreciate that. But with the rhythm-based combat, I felt like I often had to break from a combo, especially with that final attack, in order to dodge out of other attacks because there aren't many, if any, iframes when finishing a combo. And that became really, really frustrating. I think the game would have been better served if it were, and I was talking with one of my friends about this, if it were a boss rush type of game. And that would also have made it much shorter, gotten rid of the platforming, which I don't like, and would have allowed the game to really focus on the rhythm-based combat, play around with it, have more fun with it, by focusing on a single enemy instead of groups of enemy attacking you all at the same time in different ways that you constantly have to dodge out of the way of attacks, parry them, so on and so forth, and constantly have to break from the rhythm of combat. It makes me think of Punch-Out because aesthetically, artistically, this game does look a lot like the Wii Punch-Out game, which I adore. And I could see a game like that, which is essentially a boss rush game, taking music and theming the fights around that. I also thought, what if this was a Scott Pilgrim game? Because the style, the vibe, the art, it all feels very in line with Scott Pilgrim. What if they just made a music-based level for the Katayanagi twins, and then the rest of the levels were themed around the other Evil X's? I think something like that would have been cool, because I do not believe this idea, this concept, is strong enough, or maybe just not implemented well enough here to sustain an entire game. I am 5 hours in and I'm already tired of it. The thought that I still have an additional 5+ hours to go blows my mind because I'm already over it. I was over it a long time ago and I struggle to keep playing because I'm not enjoying myself. And part of that too is being a rhythm-based game, a music-based game. The music has to do a lot. And what I've played so far has not given me much hope that that is going to improve either, because the licensed music is very limited. It's limited to only boss fights and boss situations, it seems. And then the rest of the time you're listening to originals as background music that are just very, very forgettable, seemingly, at least in how they feel and sound, like random GarageBand loops that have been strung together. There's nothing special or remarkable about any of them. I would never listen to any of the original songs.
outside of the game, and I don't even care that much while I'm playing it. I, out of respect for the game and everything, have not been watching or listening to a podcast while playing, but I keep thinking about it. And that's not something you want in a game that is supposed to be so reliant on its music. The first boss fight had a Nine Inch Nails song that I don't know because I'm just not a big Nine Inch Nails fan outside of Closer. That song has always stuck with me because I heard it when I was young and remembered thinking, what am I listening to? I should not be listening to this, and there's no way that would be in a game like this. And then the second boss fight was some band I've never heard of, and this song didn't do anything for me. It was so forgettable that I forgot it as soon as that boss fight ended. I could even argue that I forgot it while I was listening to it as I was playing through that boss fight. I hope things change. I genuinely do, because I really wanted to love this game. I was hoping to love this game in part because I wanted to buy this hoodie based on the game, but it's a hoodie that Chai wears, so I doubly don't want it because I don't like Chai and I don't like this game, and that bums me out. But I can't see my opinion changing when so much of what is an issue for me is within the core of what Hi-Fi Rush is. And I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I now kind of understand why Tango Gameworks was closed. What did their future look like? I can't imagine most casual gamers and Game Pass subscribers stuck with Hi-Fi Rush if they bothered checking it out. And while a new Evil Within may have sounded nice, what is that without the original creator of Resident Evil behind it since Shinji Mikami left the company in 2023? I still hate it. I don't like that they closed them. I think it was incredibly important for Xbox and Microsoft to have a Japanese studio under their belt as a kind of bridge to Japan. But I can at least understand the reasoning more now, having played this game that was very critically loved and loved by the vocal minority. But I'm curious what the silent majority really thinks of it, because I can't believe across the board everyone adores this game. And I'd love to know what the attach rate, is that what you would call it, of Game Pass subscribers were for this game. How many really stuck with it? I should look at the achievements and see the percentages of how many people got so far in the game. But as it stands right now, I am pretty disappointed with the game, and it bums me out because I really wanted to like it. And here we are with me not liking yet another game. I not only wanted to like it because I wanted to like this game, but I wanted to like a game, because it seems like I'm just hating everything, and people are going to think, oh, there goes the continued narrative of Mark hating everything. Gosh darn it. But for now, that will do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Mark Krishnez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/pxs. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, a fancy or multiple fancy Discord roles, a private Discord channel, random drops on the Discord, and more depending on your tier. Or you can just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/pxs. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is, again, pxsausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have both a wonderful rest of your day, a lovely rest of your week. And this is not how I end this here show, but we're already here, so just have a wonderful rest of your day whenever you're listening to this, all right? All right. All right. But for now, adios. Arrivederci. Bye.
It's go time. Go, daddy. It's go time. Go, daddy.